Hi, Julia Watts here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today, as the title suggests, we're looking at Fairy Hugs Freya's Dogwood. This is part of the Flower Fairies collection, which was launched in July 2022. And there are 22 different flower fairies, and each has a flower and a fairy that corresponds to it, and her clothing kind of matches the leaves of the petals of the flowers or the leaves of the foliage. And sometimes you get an extra flower or two, sometimes you get a little bug of some sort or an animal, and sometimes you just get a flower and a fairy. I'm also going to be using the Eveningfield Paper Pad. This is one of the Fairy Hugs pads, which is 6x6, 24 double-sided sheets, 24 designs, 2 sheets of each, and 216 GSM. And this one has kind of like inky fades to it. So you can see it kind of fades out on the colours. It's also got kind of a texture to it, but obviously it's completely flat. And it's that lovely smooth finish to it, which is really great for taking inks. The inks don't get sucked up by the paper, and it really helps with your silhouettes. So that's Eveningfield. So I've gone ahead and I've cut myself a square out of the paper pad, and it's just trimming a little bit off, but I've done a fancy square instead of just a plain square. And I'll show you what I've used in a moment. I'll just put this on here so you can see how it looks. And the background also, I've used a fancy square. So I'll show you what I've used. I've used Craft Dies by Sue Wilson, and I've used the Noble Collection looped squares. And there are 10 dies in this set, and you'll find them as special order items on my website, which is juliawattscrafts.co.uk. shipping to UK addresses. So that's where the Eveningfield's been cut out. And then the black mat, I've used Phil Martin's Stately Collection debossed double stitch squares, which you will find on my website in stock now. And you've got stitching detail on the inside and the outside of all of the layers. So if you're doing frames, you get stitching both sides of your frame, which is fab. So that's what we've got here. So let's pop this into our stamping platform. It's a little bit tricky because we've got looped squares. You could, if you wanted to, cut the squares out afterwards, but I tend to do it beforehand. Let's just pop the magnets in, make sure it's right up against the corner. And then we're going to bring in the flower, big flower from Freya's Dogwood. Fairy Hugs, as I said, you'll find on my website for shipping to UK addresses. I carry virtually the whole catalogue. If you're outside the UK, then you can get them from fairyhugs.com. Let's just pop this on here, like so. And we're going to stamp it with Fantasia Versifying Clay. That's well botted up, and this is a very, very dark purple. Nice juicy ink pad. You'll find these on my website, and you'll also find the re-inkers as well on my website, which makes things a lot more economical because you don't use the whole re-inker when you re-ink, you just use a little bit of it, which is a lot cheaper than buying new ink pads. Up, messy stamper, and let's give it a good old stamp, a good old press, give that ink a chance to get into the paper. Now I know on my stamp that I need to press a little bit just harder there, just in the centre. It's quite often the case when you've got big stamps that you need to press in the centre a little bit harder. Obviously having the stamping platform makes it a lot easier because if you do miss a bit you can just go in again. Sorry about the rattles, let's turn that one off. So the paper is kind of semi-coated, so it makes stamping a lot easier. And then 9 times out of 10 you'll get a perfect image straight away. Just a bit there. Still missed a bit there. That's better. You've got all that lovely detail on the stamp there. Absolutely beautiful. Okie dokie. Right, so that's the flower all stamped. Let's give that a wipe so I don't get really mucky fingers. You can clean Versify and Clear off just by running it under the tap, and I'd use a soft nail brush. It is quite handy having dirty stamps on at times though, because you can actually position them exactly where you want them. So this is Freya, and we're going to sit Freya just here with her toes just touching that there. And she is going to, yeah, let's just sample one at a time. Let's not complicate matters. I'm going to bring in a little birdie as well for her to talk to. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could have the flowers that way up. I might do that on a project as well. I'm trying to do 3 new projects with each of the flower fairies. I'm slowly working through them, so do have a look on my YouTube channel for some videos. This is my YouTube channel, and also on my Facebook page you will also find an album with all my samples with the flower fairies as well. And you can also join, if you're on Facebook, the Fairy Hug Store Facebook group, and we love to see your makes in there. We really do, because there's always something to learn from absolutely everybody, and the design team will do all of their sneak peeks in there as well. And there's also a Facebook group called Fairy Stamper Hugs as well. That says Twitter. It's not Twitter, it's Facebook. Right, okay, let's stamp Freya and pop her on here. And I will, after the video, after we've finished, I will add a little bit of colour to her wings and to her clothing, and maybe add a little bit to the flower as well. But this is just about the stamping. So when you're watching it, if you look at the beginning, the actual, what they call the thumbnail, you'll see what she looks like all coloured in. Give a good press. I don't really want it to move very much, although I can push it back in again. Missed a bit on her hair there. Still missed a bit. So we go again and hope for the best. It is all pressed up to the corner. It's not a bad idea to go again when she's sitting on things anyway, so that the black is darker than the purple. That's better. So you can see all that lovely detail of her there, sitting on the branch. So that's our Freya. So we do lots and lots of animals in Fairy Hugs. There's bunnies, cats, there's little dragons, so she could be talking to the little dragon, depending on which way they're facing. Zodi might be a good one to pop on here. I think he's facing that way, if I remember rightly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in fancy birds. So I'm going to have her chatting to one of the fancy birds, who's going to sit just there. He's quite scary, I think, him. But he's actually looking at her, so I think we will go with that one. And we'll pop him with his feet just there, like so. It looks like this stamp hasn't been used before because it's clean. I don't clean them very often. And we're going to use Acorn Versify and Clear for the birdie. So as he's brand new, we might need to stamp him twice anyway. We'll have a look and see. You really don't need to do very much with the Flower Fairies because there's everything in the set that you need. I have got them discounted. I think they're £12.99 as opposed to £14.99 at the moment, while stocks last. Oh, he's fine. Look at him. Oh, hold on. There he is, chatting to her. And then we just finish this off with a sentiment. So I've got the relax and enjoy the day, which is relax, enjoy. That's the sentiment name. And this is from the latest book release, actually. We're just going to have it, I think we're going to have it just there. So that's what she's really saying to him. Let me just stand up and make sure that's straightish. Yep, and then we'll stamp that in the nocturne in the black. Sorry about knocking the camera. Nice bit of black so it pops. I'm going to go again so it's nice and dark. There's nothing wrong with it, I just want it a bit darker. That's better. Okay, so that's all the stamping we're going to do. We've got a pretty dye around the edge. I would just add some colour to it, so I'm not going to do it in front of you. I'm just going to use some of the Sentimental Yours watercolour blending brush pens, nothing complicated. And I'm just going to add those to it. And then we've got our deboss stitched circles, double deboss, what are they called? Deboss double stitched squares, that's right, not circles. Not planet I'm on. There on the background in the black. And then we've got Freya's Dogwood on the loop squares there. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. I'd absolutely love you to do that. And like I say, have a look at the playlist, the Fairy Hug Square playlist on my YouTube channel, and you'll see lots and lots of videos on there with lots and lots of inspiration. And thank you so much for watching.